What is up, comic fam? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and it's Sunday. That means this is At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. But before we get into spoiling comics and talking news and books and all things in between, check this out. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in my only guest I have for right now. The other one will be here shortly, but we have my heterosexual life partner from the Great White North, hailing all the way from Canada. What is going on?
What's going on? You're so handsome and kind. Thank you very much.
I'm excited to hang out and chat with you. Ryan will be here shortly. He's putting the little ones to bed and all that good stuff. But real quick, before we get into anything, before I say hey to the chat, we do have some people watching already. But I pinned the comment in the chat already. Paul, the LCS owner, he jumped in there and put a comment in here right at the beginning. I want to go ahead and touch on that. But he said, I'm the owner of Mark's LCS, and you may know that we had a break-in Wednesday night. I want to say thank you so very much to those that were able to help us and for everyone's thoughts and prayers. So my LCS got busted into Wednesday night. The jackasses, pardon my French, literally ran in, snatched the register, and took off. And I shared that with the comic community, and everybody came together like butt cheeks and reached out, and we were able to donate. And Nick's Kicks and Comics put up books for sale and sent the proceeds over to Paul. And it got to the point where I believe like he shouldn't have had to come out of pocket for anything, and if he did, it shouldn't have been for much. But it was a devastating hit with the cost of repairs and everything and buying a new register. So he's saying thank you. I want to say thank you, and I want everyone to know Paul did not ask for help. You know, that was all just like above and beyond, everybody just kind of stepping up and going above and beyond to help him like that. I can't say thank you enough. He wanted me to thank y'all, and he thanked y'all obviously, but that just made my week seeing everybody respond to that, because he's such a huge supporter of what we do on here, and he's just such a great guy. It just hurt my heart to see that happen to him.
And they break in and they take the register, and there's nothing in the register to even equivalent the damage that they did. Like, if you believe in karma, God help you.
That was a crappy part.
It's wonderful to see the community that came out, you know, from across the continent to help the Augusta Book Exchange. So
yeah,
I'm sorry that they went through it, but I'm glad that that the community is rallied around them to help them.
Yeah, it's just a testament to how amazing this community really is and how awesome the people that are in this hobby really are. So thank y'all again. But what's going on, Paul Rogers? We got Ruby G in the chat, Cowabunga, Wheelchair Superhero 87, who just started making his appearances on the YouTube. I haven't been able to cross streams with him yet, but I've caught him on a couple of streams.
Remember what Dan Aykroyd said, man, we don't cross streams.
It worked out in the end when they finally did, though. but before we go any farther, let's get our 10-gallon lover up in here with us. What is going on, Ryan?
And look at the shirt he's wearing.
We're just crossing streams. Glad you made it.
I'm right on time then.
Yeah. What's going on, Paul from Sector 2815? Hello to you. Mars Comics is up in here, and I'm just trying to point out, but a lot of these people are channel members, so a big extra thank you to all those channel members. Sector 2815. I'm excited for this Wednesday because we should be back at it on Sector 2815's channel for Guess That Key. So I'm going to try to bring the heat. I'm going to try to drink a lot of coffee ahead of time. So it should be a great show. Freaky Louie, let's end this, people. Hashtag we are so Legion, dude. He's been doing a lot of fun shows here this week as well. Brother John Comics is up in the building. What is good, brothers and sisters? Glad you can make it as well. Chop and drop evening, comic book fam. Hope you all had a great weekend. It's been a good one. Definitely a good one. We got Flo Dameron up in the chat, another channel member. You're to you too, my good sir. No Euphoria spoilers. I am not up to date on Euphoria. I actually talked to Ryan about this in more detail, but I have a hard time watching that show for reasons that don't need to get into on this, but it's really causes me a lot of anxiety. So the only time I can watch shows of that nature are in spurts and in little bursts. I normally have to binge a few episodes here and there because I have kids in the house, and I honestly can't handle watching that show in spurts like that. So I watched the first season, and I haven't even attempted to start the second season. It took me a while to even get through the first season.
I actually got caught up last night, so I'm ready to go for the finale.
All right, well, spoil it all. Go. I'm just kidding.
I will tell you that, like, one, I agree with you in that aspect of it. Like, it's like very raw,
It's so real.
It's an adult content show, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing about it is it's just a bunch of, like, excuse my French, but like bullshit high school drama. But it's like rated R and stuff, so like it gets, real interesting, I guess.
Is the second season is on par with the first season, or does it go off into campiness compared to it?
Not campiness, but it does lean a little more into like the auteur side of it. And it's really cool though. Like it's actually like the presentation I think is better in the second season because they really like do some neat stuff. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, have you seen Birdman?
Birdman with Kevin Michael Keaton, dude, that was such a phenomenal movie. Yeah.
Okay, so in season 2, they're kind of weaving this storyline where one of the characters is writing a play that's going to be performed by the school, and so then you get into like this meta aspect of like other actors playing the characters in the show, but like they kind of weave it into the beginning of the season, and then it's like the midpoint interlude or whatever, and you see like this interweaving thing, kind of like Birdman, how there's like the real things that are going on and the play things that are going on, and they kind of cross at the end. It does some stuff like that. So it's been a really cool season.
I'll get to it for sure. See, I'm getting kind of feeling anxious just having to get to it. Good evening, man. Folks, happy for another edition of At Week's End. Hopefully everyone had a great week. Yeah, I did. It's been a good one. A lot of good books. A lot of good stuff. It's been a good week. Chop, what is going on? We got hashtag Panda Pack. Adrian Pan Awesome 316 is up in the building. What's up, fam? We got DJ Links up in here. We are Legion. Pops Attic in the building. Let's go, Legionnaires. And if y'all aren't following Pops Attic on Instagram, the link is in the description to all of my videos. Tons of books for sale at move it or lose it prices. And I've been moving posting some of my more modern books and stuff on there as well here recently. Like the Billy the Kid series, sold that for $10 today. The whole thing. So there's like great prices on there. Don't miss out because we're pricing it to move. We want these books gone. Look at all these channel emojis. I love it. I wish they actually showed up on the YouTube end. They're emojis in YouTube, but they don't show up.
Flaw in the system.
Yeah, I guess because it's the custom emojis. Digger Jim is in the building. What is going on, man? See, look at that. Custom emojis. Love it. Miss So, what is going on? We got Mad Spidey up in here. What is going on? All the way from across the big pond. Dan, I hope you caught the rewind of my Panda After Dark. I opened your letter, man. Much, much appreciated, my friend. I wish I could have hung out with the Panda After Dark, but After Dark on work nights are no longer a thing for me. Like, I can tell such a huge difference when I don't burn myself out. I gotta go easy on myself sometimes.
It's no fun getting old.
No. We got DJ Links doing roll call up in here. That's what I'm talking about. Is everyone present, DJ? We shall proceed. Chris is right about the amount of money taken. It was a drop in the bucket to the cost of the damage done. Yeah.
I look forward to walking into that store one day and seeing Paul recognizes me.
Yeah,
or
I'm
his
sure,
lovely wife.
I'm sure he will. I've told you, man, that you can stay on my couch.
Okay. I know there's a lot of hotels. There's a big event that happens in Augusta, in case anyone's not aware. But yeah,
You can't get a hotel during that event.
yeah, I will be there then.
All of the hotels in all of Augusta are already booked out for that week.
Yeah, I think that's when the town makes their. That's when the town gets back in the black, right?
Yeah, at least doing it used to.
Yeah,
Righteous
it's rodeo
Juice,
season here.
Okay, let's.
So
Okay,
it's kind of like that.
So you got caught up on this, didn't you, Chris?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, have you been watching that, Ryan?
I watched a couple more episodes this week, but I'm still in season 1. I don't remember where, like episode 7 or 8 or something.
I can say watching that show, Danny McBride. There once was a time I couldn't stand the guy.
Oh man,
but I gotta admit, the man is a comedic genius. I know that he has his hand in the writing of all of this since Vice Principals and Eastbound and Down has really changed my attitude about him. And of course, This Is the End, which was, I think, his best performance, was playing a bastardized version of himself. And
oh god, that was too funny. I call him Channing Young. And I'm gonna get off in that.
I mean, you didn't like him in Alien.
The show. Sorry.
You didn't like him in Alien Covenant?
Yeah, as the pilot. Yeah,
he
was all right.
Yeah, he was fine in that.
Him and James Franco got melted right at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm. What was that? Land of the Lost with him and Will Ferrell. That movie got horrible reviews, but I laughed all the way through that movie.
I've never seen any of those.
Yorma Chacon, one of the at the time I think was one of the writers for SNL and stuff, and he played Chaka. It's just a funny movie. It knows what it is, and they get into the dynamics of tunics in it. It's really important. Never trust a guy in a tunic. What's going on, House of L Comics? Chop and drop. Appreciate that. Panda dropping the link for Pop's Attic. Again, if y'all are not following him on Instagram, you are missing out. He's dropping Ryan's YouTube link for some reason. Y'all should definitely subscribe to Ryan. He might make content again one day. We're still holding out hope. Shop for Comics. What is going on? Just a small event. Yeah. Just finished 1883. I love that show. Yeah, Steve over at Burt Family 54 Comics is a big fan of Yellowstone, and I've made it through like 2 episodes. It wasn't bad. Just I don't know when I'm going to find time to want to get into it. If that makes any sense. I started watching it one afternoon when let me watch this TNT looking show. And they started saying F words. I'm like, let me not watch this TNT looking show with the kids in here. Okay, so
it does look like a TNT show.
We know drama. Yeah, it seemed cool. I like Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Let's see, stuff to talk about this week. I don't know, Ryan, if you saw the big news, but Chip Zdarsky is about to be taking over the Batman title, the primary Batman title.
Well. Look what's happened. Canada is taking over the other franchise.
So in all sincerity, this is something that I know Chris mentioned before, like when we were in the horrible Tynion era of Batman talking about, I wonder who's going to take over next. Like most people's big picks were if you're reading DC, it was Joshua Williamson or Chip Zdarsky were like fan faves to take it over. And here we are about to have gotten both of them. So in issue 125 is when Chip Zdarsky is going to be taking over the run. And Jorge, isn't that his first name? Jorge Jimenez?
Jorge Jimenez.
Yeah, Jorge Jimenez is about to be coming back to do the interiors, the same guy who did the horrible Tron Legacy Field Neon Fever Dream that we got from the Tynion era. But he did say that this is going to look different than what he's done in that. This is supposed to be a darker, more gritty style tone, which I don't know how you can make his artwork more gritty, but
that's the tagline for every Batman series, with mini series arc, more gritty or more darker, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
to be honest, I'm kind of a little surprised by this because I've talked about it on your show before. I've seen Chip Zdarsky get interviewed I seen him get interviewed in a library outside of Toronto in a suburb called Mississauga, and he actually spoke about Batman very negatively. He was talking about Howard the Duck at the time. He was plugging Howard the Duck, and and the crossover Howard was having with Rocket Raccoon and the series that he was handling. And someone asked him about Batman, and he made the joke, "Oh yeah, like I would, we're talking about a guy who's a member of the 1%er that runs around beating up poor people." And I've often used that line ever since because I thought it was hilarious. It drew great laughter in the audience that was there. And then he just kind of shifted gears, and I believe he talked about Riverdale and sexy Jughead and all that kind of stuff. And then he gave us, his, gave us his thoughts on sexy Jughead.
Hitting Jim.
Yeah.
And, are you saying Junkhead?
Jughead. Jug. But yeah, I think it's obviously, since that point, he's done some masterwork. Obviously Daredevil comes to mind with some of his best stuff outside of the indie work. Sexy Jughead, 1G. And so
double G. We're going double G.
Have you read like some of the Batman stuff he's been doing though? Like his little parts in that, what was the anthology book called?
Urban Legend.
Right.
Yeah, like he was doing the Red Hood storyline or whatever, and Batman showed up some, and like I kind of like his Batman because every time I go back and read like some 90s comics, like they feel so much like what he's doing, just like they were like dirtier, like grittier,
Real quick,
texture wise.
But he did do Last Ride as well.
Because you brought that up, Ryan, remember when we were kind of laughing about what he did when what was it, like issue 2 or 3 when
it was like 3. It was pretty good for the first 2 or 3 issues, and then there was like that crazy out of left field moment
when he pulled the lollipop out of his utility belt. You read Superman Son of Kal-El last week.
Yes. No,
Batman
that was
nightly. he gave Jonathan a lollipop, dude. My man's got lollipops in his pocket.
Right.
Like that's
Superman's concerned that he's going to switch them up and toss a lollipop at Ra's al Ghul and try to disappear.
Mark reached for his drink and swears he'll pull out. Everything is always right here, but there's no reason to pull the book. I'm trying to go for this drink.
But yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction to move from the slow burn that eventually turned into nothing that Tynan ended up helming for actually a very long time, if you want to look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And now Williamson is in there, and it's just going to work out as he's basically just a stopgap to kind of hit the refresh button. And we'll see what Zdarsky does. But I enjoyed Zdarsky on Last Ride.
That was touched on before, too, because you got him writing Robin, Deathstroke Inc., Batman, Justice League Incarnate. Williamson is everywhere right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad that he's getting pulled off this. He's crafting this whole Infinite Frontier thing. So there's a lot of stuff going on outside of just writing specific floppy pages. So I'm happy. I'm sad to see him go because I'm loving these 3 issues that we've gotten so far of Batman. Like we've gotten 3 so far from them. They've been really, really good. I'm going to be even more upset to see Jorge Molina off the interiors because those interiors are ridiculously top notch. Like if you give me like Ivan Reis, Jorge Molina, and Ricardo Federici, who's doing action right now, like if you just let me see interiors like that on comics, like I'd have to buy everything they were working on. It's crazy. Zdarsky was made for Batman, Ruby says. Don't let me down, Chip. Now, Ryan, real quick, I do know that you do a lot of Substacking. It's kind of like
yes, sir.
Yeah, tell us more about. Have you read this yet?
I haven't read the whole post, but yeah, it's basically like right after the announcement dropped, he put out one of his free Substack posts, and he's just talking about like that he's excited to be able to announce that that's what he's been working on. That's because he's been putting out these other ones that are kind of funny. I think I sent y'all one. I don't know if you checked it out, but the one where he like gets like Bruce Wayne sitting there like lamenting over his story and stuff.
Mm-mm.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. What he's gonna do with this. But yeah, he was like kind of teasing it leading up to it. I think it's a good place to get information because like he just kind of like gives you the spiel, and you kind of know what's going on and where he's headed.
So I'm definitely
I was going to say, I hope we get a little bit of his out of the box humor. I'm not going to say that Zdarsky is a sarcastic kind of guy because I've never sat down and had a beer with the man, but he has a very obtuse sense of humor. And I would love to see a villain come in and basically, just Chip Zdarsky word bubble everything and just like take everything that he wants to say, about Batman himself and let this villain speak the truth. And I think it would be hilarious if I anywhere see the word 1%er in any of his comics in reference to Bruce Wayne. I'm gonna just see. I'm gonna be screaming like, "See, I told you!" Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Insane, dude. He's done the last
Superman.
2 issues of this.
Superman is
They
back,
give it such
everybody.
an epic touch,
Dude,
it feels like I'm reading like Homer's Iliad or something,
He just comes walking out calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah.
It's about to go down, man.
Yeah, it's steadily going down.
Action Comics.
One of the best books on the stand.
Yeah, I do not argue with that.
It's quite the coup for DC to get Zdarsky, in my opinion, on their franchise, because I was screaming at the top of my lungs, put Zdarsky on the Amazing Spider-Man and let him helmet however he wants. But DC stepped up, so good for them. Hopefully we don't lose him on Daredevil, and Stillwater is still very, very good too.
So to John's point, I think he's already announced in the only article that I read, the announcement article about it, that he's going to be bringing in, of course, a new villain, because that's just what we do on Batman titles. Because, I guess they think that these new characters are bringing in are what's causing the sales numbers for Batman to be so consistently good, but it's not. It's the suit. That's all. It's the car.
It's the logo.
The car. Robin said it best in the 4th movie. I need a car. Chicks dig the car. That's what it's the Batmobile.
But Superman works alone, so
yeah, exactly. He doesn't anymore. What is going on, Warlord? Other big thing that went fast. He's got mystery.
I will say I am more interested in the Zdarsky run than the Williamson run. Like, I like Williamson. I really enjoyed his Flash stuff, but for whatever reason, I wasn't that excited when he took Batman. But I don't know. This is Zdarsky news. I might have to check that out and see.
Have you read any of the Williamson Batman yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that's why you're not excited. I promise. If
I'm
you
sure
read
he's good. Like I said, I really like his Flash run, But I don't know. I just wasn't that interested in going back to it right now.
There's only
Zdarsky might be a good onboarding point.
We got a new issue next week, but dude, in the second issue that Williamson did, there's just this conversation, this exchange between Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor. That's been like the best part of the 3 issues so far. Like it's just, I don't know. There was just something about that conversation that was just done so well. You could just feel the tension in the air, like the subtle flexes from each other and stuff. It was wild. Lex actually got under Bruce's skin enough to make him pop. It was cool. It was really cool. Let's see. Todd McFarlane. All right. Keeping with the Canadians here, I'll let Chris go ahead, man. Go ahead. Tell us what Todd's been busy today, this weekend.
So I love Todd, but Todd made a Ghostmaker toy.
That's where you're going with this.
That must be the American in Todd now, but no. Todd is Todd's dropping Black Adam toys in the very near future. He released a bunch of new figures as well. One, of course, is the Ghostmaker. And all joking aside, it's very comic accurate, and it's also very MC Hammer accurate as well. So for those of you that are Tynan fans,
big fans of Hammer pants.
Yes, because of the parachute hammer pants. But yeah, it actually looked really good. Mark and I were joking back and forth about it. But yeah, in the end, like the McFarlane toys, since they've helmed these DC figures, especially with the Suicide Squad toys, they've been phenomenal. And now he's teasing, I think, Black Adam in the next 24 to 48, 72 hours. He's going to start showing some pictures for that too. But hey, yeah, Todd's known for being an incredible artist, but he's a marketing genius as well.
I was about to say, so what was it? It was like last week or something he was talking about where some kind of annual toy show or convention was not going to be happening. He said, but he's going to make it happen. He's doing his own version. So follow me. Don't miss out. I'm going to be showing y'all all kinds of stuff. And he started it out by just showing 3 figures from the next upcoming line of multiverses, which featured Ghostmaker, which is a standard, but he also does deluxe size figures, mega figures, which is like King Shark there, Dark Side and stuff. They're like huge. They're legitimately on scale with the other. Like if Superman's 6 foot something, Dark Side 8 foot tall. Like you put them next to each other, they're scale. So he showed a Killer Croc that's from the Arkham video games, and he showed a Man Bat that's from the New 52 and a Ghostmaker. Those were the 3 that he rolled out. But then he started changing it up. He showed us a new product. You know, you have these little Marvel 4-inch figures that only bend at the arms and legs in one place and their head will bend. They look retro. He's doing his own version of those with slightly more points of articulation because it is McFarlane Toys. They move at the waist and they come on a comic book. He's calling them page punchers. So for $9.99, which is cheaper than the Marvel price point, you're getting a to scale figure like those with a comic. And the ones that he showed was the what was it, Boss Logic Black Adam cover that kind of popped. You get a Black Adam on one of those, Flashpoint #1, that famous Jim Lee Batman, like what is it, 602 or something like that?
Yep, the standing on the statue.
Yeah.
Or standing on the rooftop gargoyle.
Yeah, then Superman Rebirth #1 for the Superman. And so they were really cool. And for the price point, they're awesome. Yeah, like boom.
I'll probably be gobbling up a few of them and I'll be opening them and maybe submitting those books.
Dude, who knows? Who knows what can happen with them? I wonder if they're obviously there's no way that they can be first prints.
No. They'll all be reprints, kind of like that Spider-Man 2099 comic, right? That that who knows that they may pop.
And the other ones that he rolled out were a line of statues. So we have the first McFarlane got the contract for DC Direct back in the day. Like to get these comic book toys, you have like the standard ones that are based off the cartoons that came on, but DC Comics, Marvel Comics, they release toys and you'd have to order them through Diamond and stuff or find them in LCSs. Now, like they're in Targets and stuff like that a lot of the times. But like you have the Marvel Select figures and you have DC Direct. McFarlane now holds the contract for DC Direct figures and he's putting out statues. We had, and the first ones is Batman from the upcoming The Batman film and a Riddler from the upcoming film. And they showed all the points of articulation on the cape, how it's like a, what is it called when you, multimedia, whatever, when different fabric and all that. And it was kind of cool because instead of doing an actual head sculpt, it has multiple different heads, but you don't take the whole head off, just the mouth, the part of the face that's exposed under the cowl, that's where the magnet is. So he comes out from a scowl to like a open mouth. It was creepy watching him change it out, but he's doing a lot of stuff. So we got statues rolling out from DC Direct. We've got the new figure McFarlane line. We have these new page punchers. And like he pointed out, the last thing he teased was the Black Adam logo. And he said, coming soon, Black Adam figure. So that's a whole set I'll be getting. Like I'm hoping they do like some kind of, for the first time ever, ultra mega size or ultra deluxe and give us a good Atom Smasher. Like give us
Fate.
Yeah, Dr. Fate's cool, but give me like a legitimate 1.5 foot tall Atom Smasher. Like, give me an Atom Smasher already. That would be awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for it. And these could very well show up and drop before the movie, where we get like a really detailed design look at what we're going to be seeing later. Depending on when he rolls out these figures. Because you were telling me something before the show too about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and potential figure spoilers. We saw the Jane Foster Thor show up already.
Right. Now, I believe in the last, or basically this weekend, there's been a toy reveal where Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Captain Carter obviously have potential toys coming. I believe it was a Lego pick got released or something. So my question is, okay, like when the trailer dropped, everyone was kind of arguing, is it Iron Man? Is it Nova? And just that split second where someone comes in really fast, that was kind of lit up. Now, my question is, if it is indeed Iron Man, are we going to have RDJ, or are we going to have Maverick himself, Tom Cruise?
I hope the God is Tom
Lieutenant Pete
Cruise,
Mitchell.
man.
Yeah.
I wanted to be Tom Cruise playing Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder, playing Tony Stark.
What was it that he was trying to get his actor? A coffee maker?
TiVo.
TiVo, that's it.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey was trying to get Tug Speedman as TiVo.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I'm sure it'll be a cameo if anything. And again, which Spider-Man are we going to get? Are we going to get one of the three? Are we going to get obviously their main actor, Tom Holland? Are we going to get one of the three? Is this where Miles finally shows up?
You're just thinking how much that we haven't seen yet. If they've already shown us this much with the initial,
the Savage Land was teased as well.
Oh yeah, if it was a Savage Land and them just falling through like time, possibly.
Yep. Again, as someone that enjoyed the X-Men back in the 80s, the Savage Land is a whole other universe they can explore.
What's the pterodactyl's name? Sauron?
Yep. The hypnotic one.
The hypnotic one, nice. Y'all want to get into some books? Y'all got anything else you want to touch on, Ryan? Anything new with you?
No, I mean, we can get into books. The first one I wanted to talk about, though, isn't even really a book. But I read this.
Your scroll.
Huh?
Tell us about your scroll then. Like what?
Yes. So it's a Substack release, but it's Tom King and Elsa Charretier or whatever. So they released like the whole first issue for free, and it's a full 25 pages. And this book is pretty cool. I read it, like you download it as a PDF and you read through it. And so it's really cool because it's like kind of like the romance stuff of Batman, Catwoman, but mix that with like how WandaVision is. And so like in the sense that they're, instead of like different like sitcom eras and stuff, what they're doing is homages to like romance comics in the like 50s and 60s and 70s, and so the style changes and you get this like overbearing sense that like something's not right because the main character like senses when things change but doesn't really know exactly what's going on. So like she falls in love with this man in the 50s and then like all of a sudden you're in the 60s and she's like, wait, but George, like what happened to George, And so like there's like these weird inklings in the back of her brain like, hey, there's something bigger and more sinister going on up here. But then like you're getting these romance stylized vignettes in different time periods, And Elsa's art is beautiful. It's laid out really well. Like it just kind of flows. It's got that Tom King dialogue that's always great to read. So yeah, I suggest checking it out. Like it's free, all you have to do is like hit a button, you get a PDF, open it up, read it, 25 pages. It's really cool stuff. I like it.
Oh, Substack scares me. I just went over here to it and looked at it and it's asking for my email. I'm like, I don't trust it.
What is this Twitter thing?
Everything else I've read from Substack, people just sent me links or emails with them in it. But I've read the first issue of Blue Book that wasn't even a full issue. And that's what kind of I think slowed me down when Substack was first rolling out. I was starting to check out. I checked out like the first and second installment of Jeff Lemire's whatever it was. It was weird.
Fish Flies?
That's the one. And then I checked out the first installment of Project Blue Book that you sent me. And that had me hooked. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Then I never thought about it again. And I think I asked you one other time if they made more of it yet or anything, but maybe if they make it release it in collected volumes, I'd pick it up. I know that Scott Snyder's Comixology first series that he did is getting released in a collection through Dark Horse coming up here soon. So these things are going to be coming out in physical copies for the most part, I assume, eventually.
Yeah, that's one of the commitments Tynan especially spoke about is that they didn't want to do this if their stuff would never see print. But Dark Horse, that deal they made with Comixology, like that, it basically sounds like that's what everybody's ultimate plan is, to do a Dark Horse printing, which is cool. Dark Horse puts out like quality product, so especially when talking about like trades and hardcovers, I think that's a good place to be. You know, they typically do quality work on that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that everybody else is kind of playing coy just to see if like what kind of deals they might could get out of some other physical publishers down the road. But I think they're all going to end up pretty much with Dark Horse. They seem to have that on lock.
Well, keeping with Tom King, and because there's a question in the chat, I have not heard about the delay with Human Target.
Yeah, me neither.
Didn't know there was one. So if you want to fill us in, book 5 just came out this week.
Yeah.
Over 12-issue series. I'm not against the idea of doing a mid-series break after Nice House. Like that worked out perfectly fine. You know, like that's a volume. Like that's a volume pretty much at that point with a cliffhanger. The way that these are written very episodically, it makes it a lot smoother with that too. So I don't know what's going on with the delay. This is the first of me hearing about it, but I'm going to put Steve in timeout.
Dude, Tom King's killing it.
Yeah.
I will say that Love Everlasting, that is more in the Tom King style of like before Supergirl, where it was like a lot of like time hopping. Like you literally like flip the page, you know, scroll the page or whatever, and you're like in a different time period and you're just kind of like catching up. Like, how did we get here?
Yeah, Mars heard they're taking a break as well. John says issue 6 will be the end of season 1, then issue 7 will be picked back up in September. So that seems like about the same length break, maybe a month longer even than Nice House took. So March.
I'm down with that.
End of March.
April, I've long talked about how like those spurts like that gives me a better chance to keep up with it.
That's a 5-month break. That's a long break. But keep in mind, Batman Killing Time. I wonder if that had anything to do with the delay or anything. I don't know. I assume that these things are written all out ahead of time, but I don't know how that all works. But Batman Killing Time starts next week, which is they're giving Smallwood time to catch up. What else does Greg Smallwood work on?
I can't think of anything. I know I've heard other people talk about it, but I can't.
The art worth the wait. The book has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
The art really sets the tone for this one.
It seems to be the trend now, though. Like, they'll release an arc, take a few months, get the trade paperback out there, let it go through its cycle, and let the artist tour a little bit, plug it, and then bring back the next arc. Like, Tynan seems to have it down to masterwork at this point.
Yeah, they just did that with Something Is Killing the Children. The trade paperback for the first half of Nice House drops next week, the same day that the next issue drops.
Oh,
yes, they're getting it some timing down pat for sure. But this was really good. We got a lot of backstory in this issue. I don't know if you read it, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we saw where he gets his motivation from, like how he got his own agency, you know what I mean? Like where he gets this attitude, this outlook on life from, and we kind of see that where he gets some of his training from in a mysterious way. And this book, he was supposed to be going to John Jones to get some information. It was all kind of a lead up to that conversation. We didn't really dive in much into it. We did find out a little bit, though, that John is having a relationship with Fire on the side, and whether she's kind of using him to kind of move money potentially or not, we don't know yet. But it's a big mystery, and it's just kind of the plot keeps getting thicker. We're not getting any answers yet in true Tom King fashion, but it's been a great character dive in my opinion already.
Yeah, I really like the threading of those different timelines, you know, and all the like flow back and forth. The watching of the salt shaker move across the table.
Oh yeah, it took it forever, didn't it?
Right. But the amount of stuff that happens in that one motion, you know, it's really cool. Like that. I mean, you know, I'm not always like concerned with how these things would translate on screen, but I've been saying since issue 1, like I would love to see this replicated exactly like as an HBO Max series or whatever, you know, just like a mini series, one season. We don't need anything else. Just give us like one 6-episode season or whatever, you know. Give us 12 episodes if they could pull it off, but that seems like a lot. But you know, like I think this like a 60s 70s styled you know, genre series, I think it would be awesome. They should look into this.
Doubt they will. We had a Human Target show and it was on Fox 54, and yeah.
But who would have ever signed off on a Peacemaker show?
I don't know, but it was like the best thing I've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was a tough week without Peacemaker. It was part of my schedule, but now Thursdays are lonely.
There's nothing out there right now.
Yeah. Well, we got, dude, Righteous Gemstones is so short. Pam and Tommy's drop on Wednesday, which I'm actually enjoying. That's pretty fun. But as far as comic book content goes, we have nothing. In the last week, I've already binge watched the rewatch. I've gone back through the first 2 seasons of Justified. And I'm on like season 4 of episode 4 of season 3 already. Just since like last week, I'm like, I've had nothing to watch.
I know, and there's no football either.
What's that?
It's hard.
Chris, hard. Before you start going on that rabbit hole, what book you got, man? I noticed you put the Bills hoodie away.
It's true. Am I wearing a Bills t-shirt though?
Probably.
No, I'm wearing a Blue Jays t-shirt.
Same thing.
The series that for me has hit the nail on the stake is DC versus Vampires. This is the one thing where I will defend James Tynion in superhero work. He's doing a great job with this. Matthew Rosenberg, I believe, does the interiors. They're okay to good. In the last issue, Green Arrow showed up in the Batcave, and just as him and Batman were figuring out what's going on, and Batman was starting to fill him in on what he thought actually happened, especially dealing with the Flash, the death of the Flash at the hands of Green Lantern, who is now a vampire. The whole Justice League shows up with Kal-El at the helm, but Superman is not a vampire, but he does seem brainwashed somehow. Now, Green Lantern has turned the powerhouse known as Wonder Woman into a vampire, but the issue doesn't start there. The issue starts with the backbone of the DC continuity showing up. Task Force X, Suicide Squad, shows up in an abandoned warehouse, which is actually the Joker's playpen. And they show up ready to start killing everything, and nobody's alive, and the Clown is not there. And when they investigate everything, it turns out that everyone that's lying around dead, their blood has been drained. So now, is it Killshot? The character's name?
Deadshot,
pardon me. Basically reaches out to Waller, and they assume now that the Joker has been turned, and he's the one that strained everyone of their blood. And just as Waller says, the task hasn't changed, bring in the Clown, King Shark eats the Black Spider and wipes him out. So King Shark has turned into a vampire. So we have a vampire shark in this, and it is awesome to witness. And I'm like, that's what you get for your phony Spider-Man. You wipe him out.
Jumping the shark.
And he literally just eats him alive, and it's hilarious to watch. And it's not campy, but
I like that he's drawn as a hammerhead. That's cool when they do that.
Yeah. And it's so good. It's so good. I don't understand why you're not reading it.
Tell me about the Kryptonite tooth.
So the big
Superman
obviously
showed up at the end of the last issue, right?
Right. So the Justice League shows up with, like I said, with Superman in the lead, seeming like he's been brainwashed. And obviously, when Superman shows up, the rest of the Justice League is behind him. Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, who I believe has not been turned. And the big fear, obviously, is what can Superman do here? Because the Man of Steel, obviously, is the Man of Steel. But what Batman has ready for him in the back of Batman's mouth is a pill. And he kind of chomps down on the pill and spits out what comes out of it. And of course, it's a kryptonite gas, and down goes the Man of Steel just like that. And then the real threat steps forward, the one that Batman is always afraid of, and that's Wonder Woman. And during this hand-to-hand combat with the Justice League between Green Arrow and Batman, who are standing their ground, everyone's trying to negotiate with Batman while he's pulling no punches. He trusts absolutely nobody, saying, let Diana put the lasso of truth on you so we can find out that you did indeed kill the Flash, because Green Lantern now has brainwashed everyone into thinking that it was Batman who took down the Flash and killed one of the Wonder Twins. But that doesn't happen. Batman just refuses and keeps fighting the good fight. I'm trying to find the Superman page for you. And at one point, Green Arrow has Hal dead to rights. So he pulls back the arrow and lets it go and puts it through his shoulder. And to which Batman says, "You never miss. What happened?" And Green Arrow looked at him and says, "He's still Hal." So there's that part that's playing on his mind that he can't bring down his friends. Now, where is that Superman page?
This series has a writers, like a group of writers on it, right?
Oh, it's just Tynan.
Oh, it is just Tynan?
Yeah. So as you can
I
see
thought
here,
he had a couple of other writers in there too.
So here you can see Superman pleading with him, like, just admit it, come clean. And Batman spitting that in his face.
What a savage. Yeah, that is pretty horrible art.
And then he just bitch slaps him with the right, and down goes the Man of Steel.
That's funny. It's like the cover that's going to be coming up for the world's finest.
And the 60s backslap. But it keeps flip-flopping between the Suicide Squad and what's happening in the Batcave, and Batgirl ends up coming to save Harley and Deadshot, whereas the rest of the Suicide Squad has turned on them and they are vampires. Batgirl shows up in the nick of time to pull them out of there. Just when Wonder Woman and Green Lantern are about to turn the tides on Batman, Batman, of course, releases a bomb, which is just full of yellow light, and that basically shuts down the Green Lantern. And when he's about to go really hand-on-hand combat with Wonder Woman, Damian shows up on a motorcycle and gives her a body check, sending her away temporarily, and that's just enough time for the two Robins then to rescue Batman and Green Arrow to get them out of there. And with that being said, there's a few jokes where Green Arrow says we need to get him to the Bat car, and Robin corrects him, it's the Batmobile. And as they're driving away, Batman decides enough's enough. He has to try and slow down the Justice League the best he can. So he blows up Wayne Manor to try and slow them down. And in the rubble, uprises Wonder Woman and the Green Lantern, who are in full vampire mode. And Superman begins to rise and says that he can barely stand. And then Green Lantern looks at him and says, "Take it easy, Clark." And Wonder Woman says, "We got you now," because Superman is actually bleeding. So this was the first time that we actually didn't have one of the major superheroes fall.
What issue number was that again?
This is 5. So
how many out of 12 or 10?
Out of 12, yeah. So it started at Halloween. I'm presuming it's going to finish for Halloween this particular year. Again, a good read.
The DC Universe app, I just checked it. Like it should be hitting any week now, you know.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. So much fun.
I'm going to go buy an issue of DC versus Vampires, not to read it. Obviously, I just want to hear Chris tell it to me every week. But I feel bad I'm getting this great story for free. Yeah. I've been keeping up with it through Chris.
Yeah, I've been singing its praises since Halloween.
Yeah. And it's not just him, so much fun. A lot of people are picking it up, enjoying it, that we talked to on here. It's just one like, dude, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
And I get it. There's been a lot of fallout from tying in and handling the superhero work and everything, but this is just a fantastic Elseworld story.
Yeah.
I want to say it's just as much fun as what Dark Knights of Steel is. Obviously, it's a completely different flavor.
Yeah.
But no one is safe in this story, and that's what makes it so exciting. And it's not campy. It's just so much fun.
Well, I don't know if it's as fun as the book I'm about to go over real quick, because I don't. I'm laughing before I even hold it up. So this is none other than Aquaman Green Arrow.
Freaky Friday, everybody. Freaky Friday.
This is another good issue. This was kind of our information dump issue. It was issue 5 of 7. So we finally figure out what the Scorpio, the group of people, the scientists, the think tank, whatever you want to call it, called Scorpio, what they actually did to cause this whole debacle where they were talking about how they're threatened by heroes, villains, metas in general. Like, we're just average people. We're threatened by y'all just in our everyday comings and goings. So we were working to try to potentially restack the deck, not get rid of y'all, but to make us more capable to live in our own world. So they have this ability. They were working on perfecting the ability of time travel with these time travel platforms. That was it was a platform. It isn't like they're driving a DeLorean or anything, but they were going back and they're placing different things in different parts of history and different parts of time to try to make our present more favorable to them. And just along the way, it did not go as planned, and a lot of stuff has gone south. That was part of the timeline is just fractured. Like, they're not even sure if they're in the main timeline, if they're on Earth 1. They're obviously not. Like, we as the reader now know that they're not, but they don't know as the characters if they are or not, which it was really cool. Like, they go into some deep time travel theory stuff here, and it was cool watching them in the flashback sending their agents off. Like, we map these courses perfectly. We set up all these different bases all over the planet, all over time, and then we sent our agents off to go set up shop, and it didn't go as planned. And you start seeing these cutscenes where they come down the platform, instead of standing in a meadow, they're falling out of the sky in front of a T-Rex or into lava or just into other creatures, causing the morphing of themselves. And it was really cool. It was, again, continues to be a really, really fun book. I do not recommend it because I don't understand but it's so fun. I will be picking up issue 6. I'm going to, at this point, there's no way I'm not going to see this through. Like, this has been great. And I'm going to have to go back.
I'm so on the fence about it. I read the first 1 or 2 issues, and I'm like, it's really good, but like, I don't know if I want to try to catch up now. Like,
but why should
it is so good?
Like, why should I care is the thing. Like,
exactly.
It's a solid story. It's just comic book funness. It's just legitimately fun comic book storytelling. But why should I care? I'm just having fun. That's it. That's the only thing. It's not tied to or connected to nothing else. No greater ramifications for the characters outside of it.
It just dropped you into the middle of this like body swap. I mean, there's just like no explanation given.
None. 5 months later, here you go. But real quick, keeping on that, sticking with our aquatic creatures here, Aquaman #1, the event that's been getting built up to between Aquaman the Becoming, that miniseries featuring Jackson Hyde, and the Black Manta miniseries. Chuck Brown has been orchestrating all of this, and it's all kicking off right here this week with Aquaman #1, where you just see, I couldn't tell you, like, it doesn't really get into like a overwhelming plot, but there's an attack, and Aquaman and Jackson are fighting this dude and this big sea creature, and Black Manta is working on something. It's almost like MK Ultra type stuff. These ordinary looking people in ordinary life are like, something is triggering them, and they're just going ape crap crazy. And they got to get to the bottom of it. I didn't read those. I'm like, I think I only read the 2 issues of The Becoming, and I didn't read any of Black Manta. So I'm going to try to go back and read those on the app. I think Becoming is completely on the app now. So I'm going to try to get caught up before next month's #2. So hopefully I'll be able to, because this had me interested. I like me some Aquaman, and this is where he's at. He's right here.
Yeah. I read like 2 issues of Becoming. I
aggressively relaxing.
Wasn't really interested.
The reverse engineered Dr. Dooms. Yeah. This is the same with DC versus Vampires.
That it's fun.
Sounds like Elseworlds crossover series from the CW.
Okay, so hear me out.
Now, hear me. now stay with me.
Just give me 60 seconds here. I'm going to take these two characters. You've heard of them. But I'm going to flip around their consciousness and put them in their body.
How are you going to explain that? I'm not sure about that. Just stick with me. We'll figure it out along the way.
Like you've all heard of Freaky Friday, right? But what about if we do it?
He's like, how are we going to sell
Aquaman
this?
and Green Arrow.
There's going to be dinosaurs everywhere.
It just like makes me think of like the Kirkman stories about.
And let's go 12 issues.
Yeah, it's only 7. It's only 7.
7.
That's still not 5 though. I mean, it's 7 issues.
That's a commitment.
Body swap with dinosaurs.
It just makes me think of the Kirkman stories whenever he like pitched The Walking Dead as like an alien story.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, where's the aliens at? You know, he's like, yeah, about that.
Yeah.
And now he owns the chunk of Image, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the artwork in this was great, by the way. It was really good. Someone Thomas is doing it. Good stuff. What else you read or get caught up on, Ryan? What's up, Cup of Comics, man? How are you doing tonight?
I got caught up on Teen Titans Academy finally.
Oh, controversial.
That. Yes, that's the whole Red X thing has split readers. I've seen some people, I've seen those channels that are always just complaining about stuff, just go off on it, and I actually loved it. I'm completely down for what they've done, and I'll tell you why after you talk about it, Ryan.
I don't know. I was pretty like middle of the road on it all. And again, my perspective coming into this one, I read like 4 issues or something. So basically like this whole story arc all at once, you know?
Yeah.
And so like going through it in that sense, like it just didn't really feel that tight. I don't know. Like we never really like honed in on a lot of the characters and stuff. There was all that meandering in the middle. And so we get here and it just like didn't feel like all these like truly authentic connections. And the book overall, like just kind of felt a little like loose and sloppy. As far as like the outcome of it all, I don't know. Like it's hard to tell. I don't know. I don't really care that like they revealed Red X and then killed him, but like it was very like it felt rinse and repeat with like a Slade. Like it felt so much like a Slade story, the way he like shows up with the upward angle of him with the swords looking like Slade, you know, like it just felt like kind of rinse and repeat standard Teen Titans stuff.
Well, this Teen Titans Academy is my introduction to Tim Sheridan's writing, and I've been off and on Teen Titans Academy. I really enjoyed the Suicide Squad tie-in. I thought there was bits and pieces of the Academy, even in the yearbook, that was just rushed. But I toughed it out because I really liked Red X. Like Red X is a guy that disassembled the Suicide Squad. And
Batman level intellect is how Amanda Waller referred to him.
Right. And in the end, it turns out it was Brick, and he was basically unmasked for 3 pages. Now, I know Mark may have a different perspective, but again, it's okay. We're now 12 issues into this, so we're a year deep into the whole Red X saga, and I get that it's now the end of a season.
3 issues left of the series.
And you know, I kind of hope, okay, maybe that wasn't the real Red X. Maybe it was just Brick in the academy in the suit. Where did he get the suit? You know, the whole father-son moment. And then the next scene, like Ryan was talking about, like a Red X that kind of looks like Slade. To me, he looked like Chapel from Youngblood. So they better hope that Liefeld doesn't see this, because Liefeld's lawyers may be on the horn pretty quickly.
I think he has a standing agreement with his lawyers is if no one sues Liefeld can't sue no one.
Oh, okay. But
he's a big borrower too.
I was a little, yeah.
Don't let
was a little
Liefeld see the
disappointed.
book with Deathstroke in it.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed
love Liefeld.
because, okay, so it turns out to be Brick. All right, yawn. But then he's gone after 3 pages of being revealed. I thought at least they could have ended that on the cliffhanger. Like the final page was him, getting stabbed and falling, and then, the other Red X doing his big speech, and then turning to Nightwing holding him, and that could have been the end of the book. We get a little bit more after that, though. I don't know, 2 Maple Leafs out of 5.
So where I had a different experience of this one. So all 3 of us read it differently, which is really interesting to see how we all kind of digested it. Where Ryan binge read it. Yeah, here we go. Pops was already on it. Where
Yeah. I hope it's
red hair
not the real Red X.
So where Chris kind of picked up and jumped in on the Red X focus stuff here and there. Ryan binge read it. I've kept up with it as it came out monthly, and I do agree with Ryan on the fact that it's not very tight. It's really not. It's a huge cast brought in. Even the familiar characters are in new positions in the school. The whole dynamic was never going to necessarily get smooth to begin with. This series does end at issue 15, along with other titles like Suicide Squad, because we have an event coming up, and these titles will look different after the fact, I'm sure. It's not like Teen Titans are going away or Suicide Squad is going away.
No.
Suicide Squad damn sure ain't going away now.
Neither the Titans in some form.
No. But what I thought was fantastic about this, so in that last issue, we did see Red X do a whole energy projection and destroy the Titans tower, and that's where it cliffhangs. This one starts off with everyone trying to get out of the tower, trying to save the people in the tower, and they're face-to-face with Red X in the rubble, and he pretty much quickly unmasks, and he starts going off at Nightwing. A couple people take a couple shots at each other and stuff like that. But his whole thing this whole time was he wasn't trying to kill the Titans. He wants to stop them from what they're doing. And he sees their whole operation as taking advantage of kids with powers for their own personal benefit, for their own agendas, this and that. And he was also under the impression that Nightwing was his father. So you have this kid who we saw was just raised in like a foster home puppy mill to fuel and make henchmen for supervillains, and that's where he was saved by Red X, the Red X. So this whole time, this Brick character, this kid who's been out on a destruction mission against the Titans to stop him from taking advantage of children and using them as weapons, was in fact that exact thing. The Red X that had saved this little boy as a child, trained him to be the next Red X, and sent him off on a mission to stop the Titans, was in fact a child that was trained, abused, and used as a weapon for the real Red X. It was a red herring the whole time. Everyone's been waiting to see who this Red X is when it never mattered to begin with. So for me, who's been saying this entire time, I hope they never show us who Red X is. I hope it, like, what? Oh, it's really Slade, or it's really this. That doesn't add anything to the character. Look what they did with Virus over in Venom. Oh, who's Virus? It's just Scorpion, and everyone was mad. Why would anybody want this to be a character that you know? Let it be its new character and never show us who he is. So I thought it was phenomenal that the whole time everyone's just speculating on who Red X is. It never actually mattered because we finally got the full introduction of the actual one that matters moving forward. And what has me hyped even more, I likened him to Deathstroke. But he's got the swords, he's got the weapons. You can see like chain mesh on him. He was relentless with how he just took Brick out like he was nothing. And then what did Nightwing do? He's like, I got to go get him. He's the only person that can help. And everyone's telling Nightwing, you said you'd never work with him. He's going to get Slade. I'm calling it now. Just from the hints we have from Future State, he's going to get Slade Wilson to bring him in to help stop Red X. And that has me pumped. Like, that's about to be wicked cool.
It was just disappointing because the more I think about it, they've been billing this as who is Red X.
Yeah, like we're supposed to know. Yeah.
Like the DC has been pumping this book, like who is Red X? Like every issue you could find out, and then we find out, and they punk him off after 3 pages.
Well, and one thing, honestly, I think part of my part of my lack of enthusiasm for it is that I think the art wasn't really there for like kind of like driving things in a meaningful way. Found him. Like, you know, whenever like the tower is falling and stuff, I think if the artist had been more inside of the destruction and gave us more of like the panic and claustrophobia of them like trying to dig out Cyborg and Beast Boy, like I would have felt more engaged if there had been like some kind of building of our connection to Brick, you know, so that whenever he's unmasked, we'd be like, oh, you know, like, oh, this sucks, collateral damage, like our boy Brick, you know, like let's save him. But instead it was just like, oh, it was Brick. Like it felt, you know, I think there was like a finer point that could have been made toward like the you know, like these insular networks that kind of like you know, radicalize people online, like separate them out, make them feel lonely, and then bring them in. Like I think there's such a great point to be made there with all that, but I just never felt like a real visceral connection to the issue because of the artwork. And I think a better artist might have swayed me a little more on the whole thing.
I don't know why. Like as soon as I got to the shop on Tuesday, like Paul's in the chat, he knows I went straight to the chair, sat down, and opened this book. I'm ready to see how this plays out. And I was not let down. Like I was excited when I read it. I'm like, dude, that was awesome. Like this whole, like, I don't know if you heard it or if you were walking with the kids away, but the whole, like Brick's whole agenda, like that Red X and like stopping the Titans from using kids as weapons for their own agenda, when that's exactly what he was. And he didn't even recognize that he was just a tool. Like, a
child soldier.
Yeah, and he didn't even see himself as that, like a pawn of the other Red X. And it made me think immediately, too, when I read it. I'm like, dude, back in the early issues, when he did the clean sweep of Suicide Squad's base and Amanda Waller referenced him as a Batman-level intellect, she was not talking about Brick. She had no clue that this is a protege. She's like, Red X is here. And she was referencing the one that walked away untouched at the end of this issue, I bet, which has got me, like, I'm just excited. Most of all, that we don't know who the Red X that matters, we don't know who he is. The other one, who cares at this point? Like, it served its purpose. It told its story, and look where the Titans are. Like, they're worse off for the wear. Like, in the big scheme of things, like looking at the big picture that's coming, we got 3 more issues leading into Dark Crisis. We know what visions Raven's having about the 4 Riders of the Apocalypse, the great unkindness that's coming, and now look where they're at. Like, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Dane is off planet getting ready to roll in the apocalypse. They don't know where Billy is. Like, it's just...
That was a really cool issue.
Right?
The Dane issue? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought his story was pretty interesting.
That's when Brick lost it, wasn't it, at the end of that issue, where he finally crossed the line and cut off Simon's head?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. As Red X, yeah.
Yeah, it was wicked. So there's a lot. I think what it is with this book, unfortunately, there's too much going on in it for it to fit in this book. Like with the cast of characters, with the story that they're building toward, like you have so many subplots that are actually like heavy, thick stories, you know, with like Dane, with Captain Marvel. Shoot, they did that 4-issue Captain Marvel series. That was just a Teen Titans tie-in, you know, it was a little branch off real quick because we don't have enough pages to tell this by itself. So they're doing big things. I'm really excited for what's coming, especially after for Future State. Like that, like we talked about as it came out, that was my favorite thing that was going on, just with how big that story was, and like it was cool, man. And as far as like how Chris said, this is his first experience with Tim Sheridan's writing. This is Tim Sheridan's first comic work, like for DC. Like I went and looked because some channel was complaining about him, saying, I read all this stuff and I don't like none of it. And I'm like, what else has he wrote? And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, the only other thing he wrote was Future State Teen Titans.
Yeah.
He did lay some groundwork with some potentially interesting characters. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of interesting new characters in the Academy. But the whole, just the Red X saga, if this is it, it was a little bit of a lunch bag letdown.
Yeah, I think this was really just an intro. Like, I think it was it was just a throw off intro, which they missold it. Like, I'm not going to argue that. Like, building it up like it was one thing, but I was cool with that. That's just me. I can completely get why people would be like, But I was just happy they didn't actually reveal the one that matters, man. Like I like the idea of not knowing who he is. We beat this horse till it's dead, and then kept beating it. What else y'all got?
That was kind of my like sour grape of the evening. So
did anyone
everything else was pretty positive.
Else still reading this, Ryan? I know you didn't start this one. This was all right. Well, I'm gonna burn through this because there's never a lot going on in these. Real quick, it was an issue with him speaking with a gentleman who's like a scholar of him. Like, so there are people over the years, over the ages, that are aware of something about him. You know, not all the details about him, but they study it. They go through archaeology and through historical records, and they try to piece things together. And he was talking to a gentleman that's gone around trying to collect all that information. His father did it before him. And you follow this box through history of all these different battles and these eras that he was in, all to get to the end of the box where you open it up, and it's actually it's his hand in a box. It was severed thousands and thousands of years ago, and cults that have heard about him or saw him once, and like his legend is built on, like have kind of talked about how there's just all kinds of stuff that surround him like that. You know, there's cults that operate based on his legend and stuff like that, and the whole archaeological angle to it and everything like that. It was actually, I enjoyed the issue a lot. Like I said, I still pick it up. I still enjoy it. I actually get 2 copies of it. I'm gonna get rich. I'm just kidding. One's for a friend.
Like, why didn't they play the whole cult angle or the angle of him being worshipped like that from the beginning? Like, yeah,
it was just in passing.
Around.
It was definitely in passing. The whole purpose of was just to get introduced to this guy, because this guy at this point is probably the world's leading expert on who he is, because not only is he just a scholar and historian of him, he's gone around to anybody else in his lifetime, at least, that has information or knows about him, and has killed them all and taken all of their research data, artifacts, anything. He's not a nice guy. And he told Berserker, like, we're going to try something different. We're going to push you to your limit, because we know you have a potential in you. We know that there's something that you're not aware of, and you accessing this can trigger these memories and give us more. So they bury him a mile down in the ground in the desert, and they back off, and they with his permission, of course, and they back off, and they're telling him to get out. And you basically see him charging up, like he's energy charging up, like he's about to blow, like on a nuclear test site. It looked cool. Like I'm enjoying it, man. Like it's nothing prolific, it's nothing like super deep, but again, I like a good mystery, and this is a decent one, so it'll do. Speed Racer, go!
Man, I read Hardware Season 1, Number 4. Did you even start this one, Mark?
I did not start Hardware. All the milestone stuff. I'm like, dude, they're all on the digital app, so I'm going to read them digitally, and I suck at remembering to read stuff digitally.
So Rocket and Icon's pretty good. It kind of like deep dives the first 3 issues into like their back. Like, what I like about Hardware and Rocket and Icon is that, like, they presume no like previous information. Like, they're doing a real deep dive. So like Hardware, we're still in like the origin story, and this was issue 4, and I think it's like a 6-part origin story. So like they're taking their time with it. It's really cool. They assume you know nothing about the character, you know. And Icon and Rocket kind of did the same thing. And so like in Hardware, like it's been awesome because they're doing like this Tony Stark kind of origin story, you know, where he kind of like put this armor together and stuff. And so he's like Iron Man-esque, you know. But he's been betrayed, basically, and he's been framed in the eyes of the media and stuff. So there's like this manhunt thing going on for him. And he's caught up in like all these politics. And then you get like all these other layers to it, you know. Like, I mean, it's kind of like a social injustice sort of play in a sense, but like they don't focus on the outcome. Like, he's not complaining about the system, but as you're getting his origin story, you see how like different elements of his past kind of play into the injustice that is inherent within the system, you know, because he was like a black orphan. And so he was adopted and not really adopted, like fostered in And so like he was raised as like this child biochemical prodigy. And the man that was fostering him is like the owner of like, it would be like Tony Stark or something, you know, or like Tony Stark's dad, you know, like he's got this like company that's worth billions and stuff. So like he's kind of like just like this child prodigy.
What was the one shot they did, right? Who was getting blamed for the chemical attack? So this is him.
So like whenever those canisters come out, like whenever they have the gas thing, right? So those are made by this Alva Corporation. And so the guy that owns Alva Corporation, he had basically bypassed a lot of safety regulation and stuff, but he did it with his son's information, you know.
Oh.
And so whenever they go to see who like cheated the system, they're like, oh, it's the head biochemical engineer here, Curtis Metcalf. And so like they come in to get him, but like he knows they're coming, and so he like jumps in a suit and they come in and like he messes them up because he's cool like that. And then he gets out of there, and so like he's kind of been on the run, you know, but he's done like some drive-by stuff, you know. And like this issue, we got to see kind of like where his connections are paying off. Like his girlfriend is still like on his side, so she's in the news like trying to argue for his name and stuff. There's somebody else within the Alvo Corporation or whatever, so he has a way in, you know. So like we're kind of seeing all his connections pay off, and he's like setting up this master plan to go back and take out old foster daddy in the last 2 issues, I'm sure. So because he's not happy about how he's been framed. I don't blame him. It's been awesome though. I really like it. There's a ton of layers to like the character and the storytelling that's going on, and so like it's really cool. I like that one. And then Icon and Rocket, that one's been really cool. The first 3 issues are kind of like this deep origin stuff, but from there, like it sets up like a bigger universe, like a superhero universe style thing, and it seems like they're off to just like start doing superheroing. So I'm pretty excited to see where that one goes as well. The Static series, not good. I cannot stick with that. It was moody, angsty, teenage Static. It was really bad.
Yeah, I didn't care for Static. That second issue, the art, I wasn't a fan of the art. It was overly digital. So the art was already difficult. Like Simone DeMeo is an artist that is excessively digital, but like with stories that I was interested in, I was able to stay in it long enough to like, dude, now I love Simone DeMeo. Like absolutely love that artwork. Whoever was on Department of Truth hated it. Absolutely, it was hard for me to read.
Martin
but
Simmons.
having stayed in the story for a little bit, I'm like, dude, I can't imagine this book looking any different. They change it up a lot though to kind of match the story being told. But that's what's been so wild about it. Like, but it was not easy with Static. It was just it was difficult in my eyes. Like it wasn't drawn badly. It was just a combination of the way it was drawn with the way it was colored. It was just literally difficult on my eyes. I think I'm getting old.
It's no fun getting old.
Icon and Rocket is done in more like modern superhero style. So like Superman, Batman looking stuff, you know. So it looks like that. And then Hardware is really cool because it's still got like this gritty 90s look to it, you know. Like it looks real dirty. It's big, bold black lines and stuff like that. But it's really cool. It like adds to the whole vibe of it all.
Chris, what else you got?
Well, let's talk about what your hot pick was last week.
What was
Mark
it?
and I spoke about this before the show, that a lot of the indies, Boom Studios and Image have been really upfront with their horror genre books, and they're good sellers. You know, Something's Killed the Children, Department of Truth, if you want to go down that road. And even like Stillwater to a lesser degree. And DC's been bringing some horror stuff as well. Marvel's the only one recently that hasn't done anything until now. Ghost Rider is just that. This was like a horror-based comic book, in my opinion, right from start to finish. And it's truly a psychological horror comic book, in my opinion, dealing with PTSD, dealing with, you know, the whole, let's keep this person drugged up the best that we can, and so we can keep them tied down. This is the return of Johnny Blaze as Ghost Rider.
This was fire.
And it to me, it might be the best Marvel book I read this week.
Oh, for sure. And that's close second though. And that's 100% of the Marvel books I read this week. But yeah, this was phenomenal, Chris.
Yeah, it's it was a Stuart Percy. Percy, you did a bad job. Even I
right.
You have failed this city.
Now your city lies in ruins. Ghost Rider is really good. You know, it kind of starts off with Johnny just talking to his shrink, and you know, just him having these flashes of monstrosities everywhere he looks, whether it's animals or people. You know, it's
walking hallucinations while awake,
yep.
everything.
And it presents one way, but what he sees is another. Like, for example, there was a neighbor's dog just yapping, and when he looked at it, it was something.
Yeah.
It was some sort of horrific demon right out of Constantine. Yeah, it was horrific.
Yeah.
And anyways, the dog sadly met its demise inside.
Cool.
Sadly, it had its neck broken and it was shoved into the owner's mailbox. And
but it didn't fit in apparently, but he made it.
Yeah, apparently it was a special delivery. Anyways, it turns out that Johnny Blaze had Kel Surprise, a motorcycle accident, and has had a very long and arduous journey back to normal health, and he's nowhere near normal health. He has a very large gash on the side of his head that he still feels a lot of pain from on a daily basis. Apparently there's a headache that just never goes away. And the book is a little bit of a slow burn until it's not. And the timing of the book I thought was really well paced. We got enough backstory to realize that Johnny, the real Johnny, is in a whole lot of trouble. Everything that he's been seeing, all these psychotic episodes he's been having, these breakout moments where he's becoming violent because he doesn't trust what's happening around him, it's all real. What he's actually seeing is in turn real, and he's in this
illusion was dropping for minor moments.
Right. So in the end, you know, a glitch in the matrix, if you will.
Yeah.
And in the end, you know, the cookie cutter life that he was bragging about to his psychiatrist was all false. The wife and the 2.5 kids,
the psychiatrist herself,
none of it was real.
Yeah, so I was kind of confused, like going into this, because I didn't really know where Johnny Blaze stood. You know, he hasn't been around for a while or anything, right. So I was wondering where we were going to, like, how is this going to fit in? Where is this, a reboot or what? And it starts off like you said, like in this, he's got a wife and kids. He's married to Roxanne. He's living the simple life where he's a mechanic working at a shop for her dad. And I'm wondering the whole time, what's the catch? You know, and as we're going through this world and it's slowly sinking away, this gentleman comes strolling into town, very, very much like in Stephen King fashion, just the lone stranger walking.
Flag.
It's like the Stand.
Mm-hmm.
Like just walking in, and he walks over a baseball field where kids are playing, and he just leans down and whispers to one of them, and the kid just walks up and starts beating the pitcher to death, and he just walks off smiling with sharp teeth, and he refers to himself as the magician.
Right, so they really paint the picture that this character is the ultra villain that we're going to get, and in the end, they pull a 180.
He's the good guy.
This is the prophet that's come to say, "Hey, man,
come to save Johnny.
Everything you think is happening is false. Everything that you see that they're telling you is not real, it's real. You are here. You're in hell right now. You are in a whole level of hell." And then
fires up.
The sheriff who is kind of tormenting him drives into this magician and buries him into a tree. And
it was very Truman Show.
What is going on here?
You know, like as he's letting go of reality, it was cool because everybody in town's now looking at him, walking toward him, telling you how everything's normal. Just come back home or
eat your pills.
Yeah, eat your pills. And the magician standing there just trying to talk him out of it, and a car just comes out of nowhere and just plows him over. And he gets out of the car. "Hey, Johnny, you doing okay?"
the cop is concerned about Johnny. And in the end, that's where the rider starts to take form, and he starts going through the metamorphosis of the change, and he's fighting with it, and he's struggling with it the best that he can.
With a bang too. Like
and
a
in
whole,
the
he
end,
finally lets it go. It's like a whole explosion in the
and
town.
in the end, the warhead goes off and up rises the Ghost Rider, chains it all, and he touches the fallen motorcycle and it turns into his big steel horse. And in the end, the demons that are there, everyone that's been falsifying this world to him says, we're the ones in trouble and we need your help. So the cliffhanger is all these people, not people, but demons, essentially, are saying that they're the ones in trouble and that someone is coming for them. Someone is in charge of them. And the Ghost Rider says, well, who is he? And in the end, doesn't care. It just rides away. So we'll see. I thought it was very, very well done. Well crafted. And it's the Ghost Rider is back.
Yeah, they were trying with everything they had in him to try to keep him asleep and talk him into staying where he was at. And the whole time that they're talking to him, like, we know you're still in there, Johnny. You can still come back. You don't have to die. And he's just completely slaughtering them. It was really cool. Yeah, it was great. And he the whole time talking to his shrink, like their whole mantra was like, the monsters aren't real, and it was cool how it ends with him saying, you get a little bit of dialogue. There is such thing as monsters, and I'm the worst of them all. Awesome splash page and everything. Like it was just fun, man. Like it had this whole mysterious horror element and everything to it. And dude, to be honest with you, it gave me Immortal Hulk vibes. Like it doesn't feel like it's Immortal Hulk, but the same, like, all right, we got a Ghost Rider #1. It felt true to the character. They're giving us this whole psychological horror twist type story and everything. It's what I wanted. Like it's what I wanted from a good Ghost Rider story. It was fun. It was a good mystery. It had it was tough as nails at the end.
It was so good that issue 2 is going to have a lot to live up to. I get that this was a little bit of an oversized book, but man, they went balls to the wall with this.
I didn't realize that until I got home with it. It's $6, and it's got to be at least like close to 35, 40 pages or something.
Yeah, and it's very well crafted. The art was, I thought, just okay. The few splash pages were good. The covers definitely outdo the interiors.
Yeah, Kale New coming in.
Yeah,
dude, he's taking over. He's getting main covers for Marvel and DC right now.
Yeah.
He had the B cover for Deep Target last month. The B cover for Aquaman this month.
It was it's Marvel. What I said to Mark, it was like Marvel kicking the horror door back open, saying, "Oh yeah, well we're gonna bring our franchise character. Let's see what you guys got." And it was good. It was really good. Like I said, issue 2 is going to have a lot to live up to because they basically gave us the entire origin story of what's happened to Johnny Blaze since he stopped being Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it was cool. Ryan, what else did you read, my man?
I read Action Comics 1040.
1040.
Yeah.
War World is in full effect. Oh, dude, you got the Rockwell looking cover.
I love it.
That's
like
fantastic.
they're all arm wrestling. Superman and like Batman's like almost kneeing him in the junk or kick him in the junk for
right?
just for some more some more weight and Plastic Man questioning what's going on, but
just borrowing a little friction from a friend. That's all.
Yeah, it's just it's such a fun cover.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love the way that he's drawn on that. What'd you think? What'd you think of? Because did you get caught up on a couple issues to get to here?
No, I had caught up on this 2 weeks ago when the last one came out. But yeah, this one was it was really cool, man. Like you just see Superman like sticking to all those values, and like it just feels like Philip Kennedy Johnson really understands like why Superman is a symbol, and he's like really just like burning that in, that it's always going to be the right way, and that like there's always a better way, and so it's really cool the way he did that. And then he crafts like this I don't know. It's just like an epic. It's like an epic being told about this man, Superman. How he came in and how he took his beatings, but he led the people into victory and freedom.
It
And so
feels
it's going to
very
be
Lord of
interesting
the
to see
Rings.
how that gets mixed up.
It's starting to have like these Lord of the Rings vibes for me as he's like
Yeah.
hanging out with the other people that are enslaved, and they're able to get out of their cells and walk around a little bit and everything. You're finding all these different levels and layers to War, like these whole subterranean worlds that have been stolen and absorbed into this current planet and everything with these creatures like these giant worms that they show in this one panel, like these gases they give off are actually the producing the air that we're breathing, and these little fine details that he's doing it was really cool. And we saw another glimpse of how savage Mongol is in this issue because on the battlefield, they've given Clark a name, and I can't remember it in their tongue, but it translates to like the dry sword or something like that.
The unblooded sword.
The unblooded sword. And Clark's dialogue in the beginning when he's narrating, he's like, they call me by blah blah blah, which translates to the unblooded sword, and they think that I'm a joke, but I like it. Like, and he says it in a tough way. Like then he
Yeah. Well, he says, I think he says like, I think they meant it as an insult, but I kind of like it.
And we see that he's fighting along with the other people that are enslaved. There's a set of kids beside him that are completely bought into what Mongol's selling. It's all that they've known pretty much. And Mongol comes walking out in the battlefield, and these kids are quick to try to show favor toward him, like, "Hey, we're Warzone, we're tough, we did this, that." He's like, "That's awesome. Kill your little brother then if you're Warzone." And she looked like she was about to do it, and Superman steps up and takes one for the team.
No.
Dude, it's rough watching him get drugged like this. He's deep out. He's on a planet that is fueled by red sun pretty much, and he's slowly just draining. But
he was already on the down slope.
Yeah, ever since death metal, he's been on the down slope, but it's tough. He still doesn't waver. He still doesn't change. He just pushes harder. And it was cool you see these kids in the cells later talking about trying to convince themselves that they're Warzone and they can be tough, and he just shuts them up. He's like, "Stop it! You are better than that. There is not strength in violence. There is not weakness in caring for your brother. That is your strength. That is your hope." And I'm like, dude, there he is. There he is.
Yeah.
There's Superman. Like, God dang it.
Well, I know we had skipped over talking about the last issue, but the ending to that one, when Midnighter shows up,
he's
like,
he's about to ruin everything. Right. But he's not. Midnighter just does not care. He's there to get the authority off there.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill Mongol and get the authority out of here, and he's got his own plans going. He's pretty much rigged the whole planet to blow, and he's ready to just end the fight right now. Like, he's so many steps ahead of everyone.
Yeah. But whenever he shows up and he's like, "Come on, like, I'm going to get you out of here, this, that, and the other." And he's like, "No, I'm staying right here. Do you not understand? He put me directly in contact with the exact people I need to speak to overthrow this planet, Like, he gave me all the tools I need. Leave me in here. I'm going to get to work, I was like, man, that's Superman right there, just like that heart coming through. Like,
and
he thinks he's giving me punishment, but he gave me the best asset he could.
Yeah, and what's even funnier, looking at that from Midnighter's angle, you fast forward one issue, Superman told him that, and here we are in this issue, and Midnighter's passing the message, "I'm going to blow it in three." He's
yes.
Him.
Dude, that dude is driven, man.
And I'm almost through the first volume of The Authority, Warren Ellis's run of volume 1. Dude, he is tough. Like, the whole Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes fight scene things, like, ripped from this guy, man. Midnighter. Like, someone comes up to threaten him. He's like, are you threatening me? I just fought you 1,000 times already. I know exactly what you're going to like. I'm like, and he just shuts him down. Like, you can't touch this guy. And I didn't realize it, but Bendix, the villain from Son of Kal-El, he's the one that teched out Midnighter back in the Wildstorm days.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a character who's brought over from Jim Lee's
stuff. That's interesting.
Stormwatch that happened before this run and stuff. I'm like, oh, how cool is this? It's all coming together like butt cheeks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. The artwork in this really lends to the story as well, creating like this beautiful, like this soft tone. Like the pencil work is insane. Like
Yeah,
can't sing high enough praises about this book.
it's like very detailed and
Mhm.
like well done with like the soft palette.
Chris, what else you got up there,
I was
man?
gonna say there was a page in here that there was a couple.
An action?
No, yeah, I think I just jumped it to the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, it still has the Martian Manhunter backup.
Right. So
story
it was
in it. I haven't
the
been reading
the
those.
2 pages down in the cells. This is just beautiful work. They could almost take away the word bubbles, and we would know what's being said here just by the
Oh, yeah.
storytelling that's being done by the work.
Yeah, you know what you
Incredible.
mean.
Incredible. I'm nervous for the character. I'll be honest. I'm nervous for the character.
And we did find out that we got a little glimpse into Mongol's plans finally. Like, is he just got Clark here just to abuse him and beat him for the rest of his life for all eternity? No, he's actually keeping him alive for a purpose because he's planning to go shut down the United Planets, is what it's looking like. We did see them for a very brief moment in one single issue when they first showed up on War World, where the United Planets are kind of watching in and they presumed the entire team is dead. And Mongol made the statement that he's going to be needing him for the plans that he has for the United Planets. So we do know. So we really got a lot of plot progression in just that one little tell as well. So I don't expect to be on War World for the entire issue of the next one. I bet we're going to be diving into some stuff from the United Planets perspective and whatever threat Mongol's presence hold, because they didn't want to get involved. From what I remember, they wanted to stay completely out of it until it looked like he was beat. They don't want his wrath coming their way.
I picked up Step by Bloody Step. Now, this is an Image title, and it's Simon Spurrier. It's kind of Iron Giant meets Pacific Rim. We have a gigantic robot that's somehow protecting this child that's right here on the front cover. The interesting part of this book is there is no word bubbles. There is no storytelling. It's just artwork through the majority of this book. The giant ends up facing different monsters along the rim. I'm no good with that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's long story short, you would think that there's no word bubbles. I sped right over it. This is the type of book I want to go through one more time and just appreciate it and pick up things that I missed on. We get a slight origin story to the child that's there. Parents are wiped out. Long story short, this giant finds the child, and then it just becomes fighting everything off that wants the child. We'll see.
Decent interiors.
It's a beautiful book to look at. I'll open up a couple splash pages just to say.
Was there anybody on the creative team that you remembered?
Well, I recognize Spurrier. The art is Matthias Burgard, and the colors are Mateus Lopez. And the first page is actually just a beautiful page. There we see just the child in the hand in the middle of a blizzard. And as a Canadian, I can, really appreciate.
That's about the most unrelatable thing I've ever seen.
I can totally relate to that because there's been many times where I wanted to be carried in the middle of a blizzard, like even this week, as a matter of fact. But there was a couple again. So
what next? They're going to be playing hockey.
Yeah, like here's the giant here, and then some of the monsters that the giant or kaiju ends up crossing with are like monstrosities, even in compared to the size of the giant. This is I don't know if I would call it storytelling to the point where we had that famous late 60s Nick Cage story where Nick Fury story where Nick Fury dies at the end. I'm forgetting the name of that creator, that legendary artist, Jim Steranko. I wouldn't put it at that point. But the color work and the imagery are something right out of the world that we live. And that's why I'm probably going to give this I'll probably pick up issue 2. I want to go through this again for a much deeper delve into this book. It's sold out everywhere where I was. But again, the imagery is just fantastic. It goes from winter scenes to summer to desert. It's an interesting story.
Like Hefe Kendrick said, Shadow of the Colossus. If it's anything like that, I'm in. Like, that sounds amazing. I love that game.
I didn't know what that was.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
It was a PS2 era game,
right?
And
how did I miss that one?
It's really cool.
Colossal.
Basically, like, your sister is like cursed or something, so she's like dying, but you can save her life if you take out I think there was 8 Colossus in the game, and if you take them out and get all the like things to like save her, then she doesn't die. But it's cool because like that's literally all that's in the game. Like, you ride around on a horse, you have like a sword and a bow and arrow, and there's just basically 8 boss battles, and you have to go find them. But then the boss battles, like, they're huge. You like climb up on them and stuff and fight them, and it was a great game. Very simple premise, but an amazing game for the time.
Nice. You did get caught up on Department of Truth, right?
Basically. I still have like the back half of the 16th issue.
Oh man. Dude, I stopped reading it and went and looked for 3D glasses because I noticed that some pages were legitimate 3D effect pages.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find any unbagged ones. Like, I have my Friday the 13th box set that I got Jason Voorhees to sign, and I went in it and I opened it up to Friday the 13th Part 3, and my glasses are still in the plastic. I'm not going to bust them open. But I want to go back and look at some of the pages with the 3D glasses, just the classic red and blue ones.
Yeah.
But it was a tough issue to read because the visuals were intentionally psychedelic. It's playing to the whole hippie vibe on what is that neighborhood in San Francisco, California? It's a very specific neighborhood. I even Height and Ashbury Street. It's a famed neighborhood in Ashbury Street where the whole hippie movement started and everything. And it was cool. Yeah, so they get into the whole. I can't really show too many pages. It's just nudity throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald, after what happened in the previous issue, he obviously left the department and went out just to like get away, and found himself at Ashbury Street, just getting into the whole hallucinating, trying to find the meaning of himself and his life and everything. Long story short, he was not alone. He was the woman in red involved. The department had eyes on him, and you find out that the whole LSD hallucinogen fueled era there was very, very government targeted and oriented, and it was all for a purpose of chillaxing people. All these people that were thinking that they were doing so much and making these great strives to try to do, they were literally doing nothing. You're literally standing in place, holding a sign up. You're actually accomplishing nothing. And that's exactly what the government wanted from him at the time. And by the end of it, he realizes that he's not real. He is, in fact, the fiction that was created after the assassination attempt. The real Lee Harvey Oswald is dead. And this is the fiction that we were that he thought he was, but he is real though. He's just not the original. So what does that mean? We don't know what's going to look like moving forward. We don't know. We just know that he ends up being the head of the department, and we don't know what his motives are now. And it all goes back to 4 or 5 issues ago when Cole was told the truth about him, that they believe that he's a fiction and not the real one. And where does that put the department? Are they on the good side, or the black hats on the good side? All I know is the only person I trust at this point is Hawk. That's it. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
Messed up.
Yeah, things are bad. Big Notch is in the building. What is up, my man?
I read issues 13 and 14. Knock those out in like 30 minutes or something, like real quick and easy.
Issues?
Huh?
Were those the Bigfoot issues?
No, that was after that.
Okay.
Those are the ones where you start getting into like basically where this arc is at, like exploring.
Oh, that's where you get out into the desert with L. Ron Hubbard and all that?
Yes. Yeah, and the issue before that is when they go back to where Cole went to school in the basement and all that.
Hawk?
Yeah.
Oh, Cole in the basement. Oh, God. That's way back there with Cole in school, like with the Starface Man and everything.
Yeah, well, that's 13.
Oh, wow. This is 16.
And then 14 is like the 10 foil hat and all that.
Oh, the UFOs in the diner and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, that was kind of creepy.
So those two I burned through pretty quick, and then I got to 15, and like that must have been a Martin Simmons catch-up issue or something.
That was my favorite issue yet, the Mothman issue, when we finally get introduced to the big player. Like that was
like a 2-hour
issue.
read, man.
Yeah, it was creepy though, wasn't it? Like my skin.
Oh my god, yeah, it was so good. I was like zoned in on it, but it took me like, I mean, I had plenty of interruptions, but it took me a good almost like 2 hours, maybe like an hour and a half to get through that whole thing. Which was awesome. Like that's great content for your dollar,
It was drawn like a children's book. Like you'd get one page with the illustration, the other page with the text, and the way that they were drawing it, like it was creepy. Like I even looked up the bridge that was featured in there that collapsed. The real bridge. But I forget the guy's name. His name's even scary. Like he shows up in like the ship that's like the oblong shaped ship, and he gets out and he walks and he's got the weird face and like
is it like Pearsons or Persons or something?
I don't remember his name. It's such an oddball name. He's mentioned one time in this issue too. Let me see. Indrid Cold.
Oh yeah. Indrid Cold. Yeah.
Indrid Cold.
That's a cool name.
It is. There's no way I'll remember it. Big Nosh is in the building, though. What is going on? I did not know that a new episode of Superman and Lois was back on yet, so I did not watch it. I'll be watching it Wednesday, though. Acid tripping equals living in the Matrix.
The Martix.
It's been real rough for me these last few days. Super rough. I'm sorry to hear that, big guy. You know that if you ever need to, just hit me up. If you just need somebody to chit chat with, happy to talk with you, man. I know you got them busy days, work them long hours. Chris, did you get a chance to read this issue yet?
Nope, not yet. That's probably second on my list after I want to go through Step by Bloody Step more in depth one more time. Department of Truth, and then the franchise. So
if you have 3D glasses, like in an old DVD or something, get them out before you read it, because you'll notice when you get to like a big splash page where there will be like JFK, Martin Luther King, all these greats that have been assassinated over the years. You can see the blue red line where like, oh, dude, this is supposed to be played with. This comic is supposed to be played with. I should be playing with this book right now. Where are my glasses? I'm definitely going to do that. What else y'all got this week? I only got 2 more left.
Did you read Detective Comics?
I did. It was a good issue. It was a lot.
I'm trying to remember. I actually read that one, I think, on Tuesday. It was a good issue. Yeah, whenever they're like breaking out, what's her name? Helena?
No, this is where everything the ish hits the fan. Like Nightwing was face to face with Psycho Pirate and broke his hold, and his hold let go of everybody. They had the visitors in the tower. They were trying to show off the tower for the final push for the funding. Ware's upstairs on the phone with the Penguin. You got the people dressed up.
Just like walks up and stabs them, right?
Right.
Yes. It's everything's just hitting the fan. All teams go. Just chaos.
Yeah. This was a good issue. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think the finale is this Wednesday. Then
already.
I thought that's what I read. Yeah.
Man, that went quick.
Well, they haven't come out every week,
weekly
right?
Releases work.
Yep.
No, it's the halfway point.
Oh.
Yeah, I did know that Friday's Batman, babe. I bought his tickets a long time ago. For some people, I think Jeff's in the chat. Jeff, don't you have tickets to go tomorrow to see it?
Yeah, some people do. No, the 3rd.
Oh, And remember, there's supposed to be a comic book released with it. If you get one of the early enough viewings,
the Regal showings, Regal early premiere.
Yeah, we don't have that in Canada, but yes.
Yeah, the Regal IMAX, they did an early premiere. I just know that I couldn't. If I saw it on a Tuesday, there's no way I would be able to not spoil it. Like that's
you couldn't sit on that egg. Eh?
I'd be sending y'all pictures from in the theater. Like, look at this, y'all. Silver Surfer Rebirth issue number 2 from Ron Lynn and Ron Mars was the last one that I read. This was really cool. We saw Thanos kind of explain to him that there's an entity out there with the Reality Stone stolen from his garden, and he needs Silver Surfer's help to get it, reclaim it, and stop this person from trying to re-alter reality itself. Because at the end of the whole Infinity Saga, the Infinity Watch was in charge of all of the gems, and Thanos was tasked with keeping the Reality Stone, and someone dumb enough or brave enough or strong enough, who knows, to steal it from him did. And at the end of it, we kind of get a glimpse of who it could potentially be. They keep him in shadows the whole time, and he talks to his agent who's walking out, his little right-hand helper, and it's none other than Jack of Hearts, who's been long since dead. But this story is supposed to be taking place in the pages of the run in the past, before Jack of Hearts died horribly at the hands of Wanda Maximoff, wasn't it? No, she just brought him back just to blow him up again.
It wasn't the Beyonder himself, was it?
I'm not sure. They don't. All you see is a shadow and a fist. That's all you see. It's all silhouetted, so there's no telling. But Jack of Hearts is in it, which is cool because he's like super dead. But he did pop up with no explanation in She-Hulk #1 here recently, and then he's in the pages of this, which takes place in the past. But the biggest memory I have of him with anything really is watching his zombie corpse come walking up to the Avengers mansion, and Avengers disassembled, and Scott Lang running out. Jack's alive, and he's not. He's just the animated corpse that explodes and kills Scott Lang. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, yo. So that's all I got. Y'all got anything else y'all want to tack on for this evening? It is hit 11 o'clock, and I got to get ready to call it a wrap for tonight.
No, I think that's everything I read. So
I think that's it for me too.
Go check out Love Everlasting.
What is that? The book?
It's that Tom King book.
That's the one on Substack, dude.
Yeah.
I've got it up on this tab. I doubt I'm going to put my email address in there though.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. Yeah, they getting spam all day.
That's how these new mediums get you.
What you need my permission to look at my contacts for? No way. Yeah, but everybody, make sure you all go check out the Comic Vet. He's got his 600 subscriber giveaway contest day after tomorrow, Tuesday. So if you're not entered, go enter, and if you don't want to enter, don't. But
why not?
Why not? Why not?
You got nothing to lose.
Get a copy of Mouse and Retire. I think I have that book somewhere. But yeah, I don't. To be honest with you, Nosh, I don't think about the Turtles much at all. Not the comics, at least. I like the movies. I like the cartoons. That's about it.
Last Ronin.
Yeah, I'm ready to read issue 5. I'm not like I don't care if it comes out. To be honest with you, if it never comes out, I wouldn't care. Just send me my Jang variant, and I'm happy. That's all I need.
The first issue was great. Second, we all know the story.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night. We are Legion.
Appreciate that, Chris. One more time.
Thanks, everybody. We are Legion.